everyone, welcome to Ancient Life Hacks. I am Jared Madsen. I have a master's degree in Chinese medicine. I spent many years living in China. I am fluent in Chinese, and I am very interested in not just Chinese culture itself, not just Chinese medicine, but how we can take this ancient wisdom and apply it to our lives today. So today we have a seemingly simple topic. We're going to talk about making one dish, black chicken soup. It's not hard to make. It's easy to make. It is highly nutritious. It is great for you. But to truly understand the benefits of this soup, of this dish, we want to dive into all the different herbs that go in, how the herbs interact with each other, which requires us to give a short lesson in herbology, Chinese herbology, which also requires us to give a short lesson in the different energies of the body and how we want to strengthen those. So black chicken soup in particular is a tonic. The herbs that are used are considered very kind of light. They're not strong herbs, so they're generally appropriate for most people. Go ahead and talk to your practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine if you have any questions, because if you are dealing with other issues, this might not be the best thing for you. But if you are a generally healthy person and you are looking for some superfoods the ancient Chinese way, that's what we're talking about today. So first things first, we need to understand the basic energies of the body before we understand how to strengthen those. So we have yin and yang, qi and blood. So I've written something up here. I will read it very quickly. It should be easier to kind of follow this than to have me explain. So we'll give it a try. Yin and yang are fundamental opposites that represent the dualistic nature of existence. Did you get that? Yin is associated with qualities like darkness, stillness, cold, and receptivity, while yang is associated with qualities like light, heat, activity, and assertiveness. So this is the Tai Chi symbol. This is the yin-yang symbol that we see. This is the balancing of all of that. We can do a deep dive into this later, but the main thing now to remember is that there's yin, which is kind of the solid, nourishing part of the body, and there is yang, which is the energy activity of the body. Both of these need to be in balance. If one of them is too much, it will injure the other one. So this formula revolves around balancing these two. It's not the concept of, oh, I'm going to get something and get a bunch of energy, right? We're not burning the candle at both ends. We are adding wax as we burn the candle. Oh, I just made that up. Pretty good though. You have yin and yang. Now, these are represented in the body by blood and qi in particular, and that is what we're talking about today. So yin is going to be the fluids of the body, these actual kind of substances that you can see. And so blood is the main one of those. So blood falls into yin. Blood in TCM, in traditional Chinese medicine, is not just the red fluid in our circulatory system, but represents a broader concept that includes the nourishing and moistening aspects of bodily fluids. It is primarily associated with yin, as it is a nourishing substance that supports the yin aspect of the body. Blood nourishes the organs, tissue, and muscles, and is essential for maintaining overall health and vitality. That is the blood. The blood is the real, actual substance. It is the yin substance in the body that is very important, obviously, and we want it to be strengthened. Now, when we talk about that, if you hear a Chinese medicine practitioner say blood deficiency, that doesn't necessarily mean a lack of blood. It means a weakness of blood. And so modern Western medicine doesn't really make that distinction. Chinese medicine very much does. Your blood has different characteristics and strengths, and sometimes your blood can be weak. So it's not that you have a lack of it, it's that your blood is weak. And this dish will help strengthen that. qi, which falls under yang, right? Qi is often translated as vital energy or life force in traditional Chinese medicine. It represents the dynamic, energetic aspect of the body, right? So yang, movement, energy, all of that. Qi is closely associated with yang as it is responsible for the body's active and functional processes, including movement, digestion, and circulation. So it's not just the movement of our body, it's keeping our organs moving. You can also think of it as function, right? So it's not just energy, it's the actual function of things, okay? A proper circulation of qi is crucial for maintaining health, as blockages or imbalances in qi can lead to various ailments, okay? So that touched on something important. We want to not only strengthen our qi, we want to make sure that it is moving and flowing. It moves through these meridians and collects in what are known as acupuncture points. These are not things that we can see, at least not with the naked eye, but Chinese medicine believes that they very much exist. Okay? So today we will be talking about nourishing the blood and nourishing the qi, which it would be the yin and the yang in the body. So getting you nice and balanced and just getting you stronger in both aspects. That's what we want. If we have too strong in qi, it's going to injure the blood. If we're too strong in blood, it's going to not let the qi flow so much, right? There's going to be too much substance there and blocks the qi. So we want nice and balanced. We want to raise both of those up. That's what this black chicken soup will do. In a healthy individual, there is a harmonious balance between yin and yang blood and qi. Yin and yang provide the foundational framework for understanding the body's condition. They influence the relative proportions and quality of blood and qi. Blood and qi are interdependent. Okay, we kind of touched on that. Blood is considered the mother of qi as it provides the nourishment and substance necessary for the generation and circulation of qi. Proper nourishment of yin and blood is essential for maintaining a healthy body as it supports the production and circulation of qi, right? But too much blood, not enough qi, will not let the qi flow. So everything this is all about balance here. Imbalances can occur when there is a deficiency or excess in either yin-yang blood or qi, leading to various TCM diagnoses and treatment strategies such as acupuncture, herbal medicines, and dietary adjustments. Okay, so we want to keep it balanced. Before we dive into the herbs, we are going to talk about black chicken. That is the main thing of this dish. Black chicken is very unique. Okay, so chickens in general are considered to be a tonifier of qi. Whereas, for instance, red meats are going to nourish the blood. They're going to strengthen the blood more, right? It's not hard to understand. Like beef it just like kind of has blood in it. It's very, it's red and very much like that. Whereas chicken is not. Now, black chicken, on the other hand, is prized in Chinese medicine. Why? Because the color black is a yin color. Right? So it is considered to be very nutritious, right? Similar to blood, a darker color. But chicken itself is a qi strengthener. So the black chicken, so basically a black chicken is, generally it has white feathers, so it's a little confusing. But the skin, meat, and even the bones are of a darker color. In traditional Chinese wisdom, it sees the black chicken as kind of being that perfect balance between qi and blood. You have qi, the chicken itself is more of a qi tonifying meat, but then since it is the meat of that chicken is black, you are nourishing the blood as well. So we're starting to see where this whole thing is going. The meat itself is a nice balanced meat. This is considered one of the most balanced meats in traditional Chinese medicine. Now we will dive into the formulas. When you put herbs together in a certain way, in a certain proportion, that is called a formula. This dish has two main formulas. One is the classic qi tonic, and the other is the classic blood tonic, right? So again, we're actually adding two formulas to this, and we're going to add a couple more herbs as well, just to kind of round the whole thing off. I will explain all of this. we will first dive into the formula that is the qi tonic. Okay, that is called 四君子汤 in Chinese. For Gentlemen Decoction. The first herb, the main herb, is called baizhu. That herb is warm and bitter. Now in Chinese medicine, you have the temperature property. That means that it will warm the body. Whether it is ingested warm or room temperature or even cold, ideally not cold, but it has the ability to warm the body. So when we say warm or cold, that's what that means. And then we have the flavor as well. Right now, we're not going to worry too much about these, okay? I'll go over them, we'll talk about them. We can save that for another video. What we want to understand is what each herb does and how it works with each other. So one important thing to note here is that in the West, we often think in terms of isolated nutrients and vitamins, and you eat this and it's good for that, right? It's very linear. Whereas traditional Chinese thinking and Chinese wisdom, it is not that linear. Things have various aspects, and then say this has an aspect, this has an aspect. When you combine it together, the interplay between them is where the magic really happens. So when you talk to a practitioner of Chinese medicine about, is this good for this, is that good for that? It sounds a little elementary to us. It sounds like you're talking about primary school, whereas we're talking more about this college level stuff because you need to understand how they all work together. Now, I will leave all of this in the description below. It'll have the Latin as well. I'll have everything. And to buy these herbs, you can generally just go and get them at a Chinese grocery store. Maybe a little bit larger Chinese grocery store for some of these. They are in the dried foods section. Baizhu is the principal herb in 四君子汤, and it is known for tonifying the spleen and drying dampness. The spleen is your digestion, and dampness is one of the 6 evils. We do not like the body to be too damp. It helps to strengthen the digestive system, improve appetite, and alleviate fatigue. However, okay, so this is where we're getting into it because its warm nature can be drying, potentially causing thirst or dry mouth. So we see the benefits, right? It helps strengthen the spleen, helps get rid of dampness, but it can be a little bit too drying. So we're going to need to address that in the formula. This is why rarely do you take a Chinese herb on its own. It's all about the combination and the proportions of those combinations. We will move on to the next herb, ginseng. Ginseng is a great example. People like to just eat ginseng as it is. No, 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 no. You want to have it in a nice balanced formula. Then you can really get the benefits of ginseng. Don't put it in your energy drink and call it good. It's going to backfire on you later in life. Ginseng is a potent qi tonic that helps to replenish the body's vital energy. It also has a tonifying effect on the spleen and lung qi. Very good, enhancing overall vitality. It can help counteract the potential drying effects of baizhu. So here's where we're getting into it. Baizhu is drying. We put in some ginseng to help balance with the baizhu, right? So you don't want to have one and not the other. By adding a moistening and nourishing aspect to this formula, that's what ginseng does. It does this without causing excessive dryness because of its sweet and slightly moistening nature. Now, I'm going to tangent for a second. Ginseng, super cool herb. Everyone's heard of it. Ginseng is considered one of these extra magical herbs. So ginseng is a root and it looks kind of like a person. And it is considered to be the only herb that can tonify, it's called yuanqi or original qi, right? Like your true deep energy. Ginseng is the only herb that can do that. And the fact that it looks like a person is not random, right? That's kind of what gives it its properties. It takes on, it's almost like this plant that has all these deep energies that we need in the human body. Now, fun story is back in the day when people would go and look for ginseng, when they found it, they didn't want to pull it out. They find it and go, okay, I'm going to let you grow for another few months, another few years, whatever, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a red string to you, and then you tie that to a tree or something like that. Why would they do that? Because they believed that after you left, the ginseng would go, oh no, that guy's coming for me. I'm going to get up and walk away. And since the root looks like a human, it would actually get out of the ground and go somewhere else and put itself in the ground somewhere else. And there were many counts of people coming back and going, hey, what happened to the ginseng? That's why they started using the red string. Where'd my ginseng go? Yeah, dude walked away. Ginseng got up and left. He knew you were coming for him. The ginseng is, they knew that. Is it real? I think it actually happened. Can ginseng walk away? I don't know. Why don't you plant some and put a camera up and see if it happens? Maybe. If you get a video of ginseng walking away at night, please by all means send that to me. I would love to see that. Okay, so that's ginseng. Now, ginseng is rather expensive. If you don't want to spend that much money on it, you can get this other herb called dangshen, sometimes called like fake ginseng or false ginseng. That's usually easier to come by. It has very similar effects, but it doesn't have that super strong tonifying of the original qi, but it has all the other aspects to it. In any of these formulas, you would want to basically double or triple the amount that you would use for ginseng, right? So if you're going to use 9 grams of ginseng, you're going to use 18 or 27 grams of dangshen in the formula. Okay, so that just depends on what you end up buying. The third herb in this formula is called fuling. It is neutral and sweet. Fuling primarily targets the spleen and kidneys. It is known for its ability to promote urination, reduce edema, and alleviate the feeling of fullness in the abdomen. It helps to alleviate dampness without overly drying the body. Okay, this is a theme we're seeing here. Its ability to promote urination and reduce edema help balance the formula, preventing excessive dampness buildup. Okay, so the spleen, pancreas, stomach, this is our digestive system. It is very important for the absorption of these herbs and the absorption of these energies to have a good, strong digestion. And if you don't have a good, strong digestion, we're starting to see this formula is so well balanced that it makes it very easy to digest. The last herb in this formula is licorice. It's licorice, but it's not just any licorice. It's licorice that is cooked. It's kind of stir-fried in a honey. Does that sound good? Sounds good to me. That's what we use. It's called 炙甘草 in Chinese. It is neutral and sweet, and it serves as a harmonizing and moderating herb in the formula. We see this in many formulas in Chinese medicine. The story goes, I forget who this was, but a famous doctor way back in the day was making an herbal formula, and I think the story is like his wife went by and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to throw a little bit of licorice in. I like licorice. Let's do that. And the doctor found that his she was just doing that to his formulas, and that many of his formulas were much more easily received by the patients, and the efficacy improved greatly. And then when he found out later that it was licorice, I mean, he was a little upset at first, but then he was like, wait a second, let's think about this. And they learned that licorice is great for balancing virtually any formula and helping the herbs and the energy enter into the right organs, enter into the right meridians. It just keeps it all nice and balanced. So nowadays, you see licorice in many formulas. It enhances the taste of the decoction while reducing the potential harshness of baijiu, right? So baijiu is very strong. We talked about that earlier. One of its important functions is to harmonize the actions of the other herbs. I just mentioned that, ensuring that they work together smoothly without any single herb dominating or causing unwanted side effects. I cannot emphasize this enough. Herbal formulas are all about the balancing of herbs. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy the most expensive and the fanciest of herbs. It's all about keeping everything nice and balanced and creating the energy that you really want to have in the formula. That's where the magic happens. Okay, so that is 四君子汤for Gentlemen Decoction. That is the qi tonic. We will review very quickly. Baijiu is the primary herb in this formula, addressing spleen, qi deficiency, and dampness. Very important for digestion. Ginseng reinforces the qi of the spleen and lung, enhancing the overall tonifying effect of the formula. Great. Qi tonic. Fuling supports the spleen by promoting fluid metabolism and reducing dampness. Again, we need that to be able to absorb the powerful tonifying effects of the first two herbs, and zhigancao moderates the harshness of baijiu, harmonizing the formula and enhancing the taste. The key to the success of sijunzi tang lies in this careful combination of herbs, each chosen for its specific properties and functions, and the precise proportions in which they are used. This harmonious interaction not only strengthens the digestive system, but also minimizes potential side effects, ensuring that the formula is both effective and well tolerated. 四君子汤 is a prime example of how TCM formulas are designed to balance and complement the properties of individual herbs, promoting health and healing. Okay, so I will leave this formula and the gram amount in the description below. I can go over it real quick here, but you can check it there. So the baijiu is 9 to 12 grams, the ginseng is 6 to 9 grams, fuling is 6 to 9 grams, and zhigancao is 3 to 6 grams. Now on to the next formula. This is the blood tonic. The name of this formula is 四物汤, 4 substances decoction, 4 things decoction. Right? This is what tonifies our blood. This is one of the prime basic formulas used in Chinese medicine for nourishing the blood. Dongui is the principal herb in 四物汤. It is known for its ability to tonify and regulate blood. This is similar to ginseng in the previous formula for tonifying the qi. Dongui is a very unique herb in all of the blood tonics because most all blood tonics, they only nourish the blood, but they don't help move it. They don't help move the qi. And therefore you have the potential to have stagnation. And that is not what we want. We want everything moving, right? So it's almost like if you're building something, right? You're building the blood, you're getting the blood stronger. You also have the potential to slow it down. That's why it's so important to balance the qi and the blood, the movement and the substance. Dongui is one of the only herbs, if not the only blood tonic herb that also moves the qi a little bit. So that is why this is the principal herb in this formula and in many blood tonic formulas. Second herb, 川芎, warm and pungent, spicy, right? 川芎 promotes blood circulation and helps to relieve blood stasis. This is not a blood tonic. This is a strong mover of blood. If you move blood too much, you will weaken it. Okay? If you tonify blood too much, then it won't move and you'll also have problems. So you want to, when you're tonifying, you want to move the blood as well. That's why we need to combine these herbs together. We need to have, it needs to be holistic. It needs to work for the whole body, not just have these one aspects. It is often used alongside dongui to enhance its effectiveness in addressing blood-related issues, in particular, moving the blood. Third herb, baishao. This is peony root, okay? Neutral and bitter. Baishao nourishes and soothes the liver and helps to regulate blood. Is used in this formula to prevent the potential side effects of dongui, such as excessive blood moving properties. Because as I mentioned, dongui not only nourishes, it moves the blood, and chuanxiong is very much moving the blood. So we want to make sure that we don't go overboard in our blood moving. And that's why we add baishao. It helps to soothe the liver. It helps kind of to balance all of that out. Last, but definitely not least, 熟地黄, warm and sweet. This nourishes the yin and blood. This does not really have moving properties. This is like just strengthening the blood. It is very dark. It will turn the whole soup black. It is very, very good at nourishing yin and blood. It helps to balance the formula by providing yin support, yes, which can be depleted when addressing blood deficiency. Okay, so this is a big formula to help nourish the blood. So to recap very quickly, dangui is the central herb addressing blood deficiency. Chunxiong enhances the blood invigorating properties of dangui and helps relieve blood stasis, making it beneficial for conditions like headache related to blood stagnation. Yes, you can get headaches. You can get headaches for many reasons, but definitely if your blood's not moving well, if it's stagnating, as we call it, it can cause headaches. Baishao, the peony, balances the formula by preventing overstimulation of the liver and counteracting the warm nature of chunxiong. And Shudi Huang nourishes yin and blood, which is important for replenishing vital substances in cases of blood deficiency. So when we make our black chicken soup, we are using both of these formulas, the 四君子汤, the 4 gentlemen, and 四物汤, the 4 things formula. This is the herbs. Again, I will leave this in the description below, but these are the herbs, the amounts that you're going to want to use. Dangui, 12 to 15 grams, chunxiong, 6 to 9 grams, baishao, 6 to 9 grams, and shudi huang, 12 to 15 grams. When these two formulas are put together into one formula, it is called bajintang, 8 treasure formula. If we put all of those in and make our black chicken soup, that will be amazing. And you can totally do that. But there's a few more herbs we can add to make it really super stellar. Okay, the first two are what is added to then make the formula 十全大补汤. So that's all-inclusive great tonifying decoctions, or more accurate translation, 10 complete tonic decoctions. So we have taken the 8 treasures and we have upped it by adding 2 more. So now you have 10 things. The 2 herbs that you add are, one is huangqi. Okay, huangqi is warm and sweet. It is kind of similar to dangshan. It is a qi tonic. It is another herb that helps strengthen the qi. And then we also add rougui, which is just a cool way to say cinnamon. It is the actual inner bark of the cinnamon. So it's cinnamon. It's what we use for cinnamon. It is hot and it is sweet and it helps move the blood and qi. It helps to move everything in the body. So we can add those 2 herbs as well. Now, 2 other things that are considered like not herbs. So it doesn't become like 12, but it's actually 12 things. One is going to be ginger. Ginger is very warming, helps the stomach. So you can add a few pieces of ginger, and also red dates or Chinese dates. Those are very nice and balancing. It adds a little bit of sweetness to it as well. Makes it taste very good. So the amounts, ginger, we have here 3 pieces. Dates, traditionally it said 2 pieces, but for this kind of soup, you just throw a bunch in. You throw a bunch of the dates in. Don't mess with the proportions of the other thing. Make sure they're all kind of consistent. But the dates, you can add more. That's not a problem. Huangqi, 15 to 18 grams. Rougui, 6 to 9 grams. Now, if you don't want to use, you want to keep the proportions the same. So you can cut all of these in half. If you're making a smaller dish, if you're not making one that big, you could double it. If you're making a huge batch, probably don't need that much. It would be more along the lines of you would cut it in half maybe, or even less. You could quarter it if you want to get just a little bit of the feeling of that. Sometimes if you go to have a hot pot, they will have a very simplified version of this. This is like the full-on super strengthening version of black chicken soup with all the great herbs. Okay, so let's go in to how to make this soup. We got through the hard part, the difficult part. Ingredients: 1 whole black chicken. Okay, you can get that at a Chinese grocery store. Sometimes if you go to a specialty meat shop, you would say like a black Cornish hen, because they're usually smaller. They're not generally not these big chickens. You want the herbs, salt and pepper, if you want to add that for a little bit of flavor, and water. That's it. Okay, instructions very quickly. Again, I will leave these below. If using a whole black chicken, clean it thoroughly. Parboil the chicken. So partially boil the chicken. You want to start by partially boiling it and removing any of that extra bubbly stuff that's on top of the water. Get your herbs ready. Now, when you put it into this big pot, you can either put the herbs in straight, or you can get like a cheesecloth and put them in. You can, if you just put them in straight, you can fish them out later, or you can just leave them in there and they're just floating around. You probably don't want to eat them because they don't taste very good. And the point is not to eat the herbs. The point is to have that soup and the chicken. The herbal properties will definitely go into the soup itself, and it will go into the meat of the black chicken. The actual herbs you don't need to eat, okay? I would advise not eating them because it's probably really gross. Okay, so then what you do is you take all of these, you put them together, you put the black chicken, you put the herbs in, you put your ginger, you put your red dates, bring the pot to a boil, then reduce the heat to a simmer, cook the pot and let the soup simmer gently for a few hours, usually 2 to 3. But longer cooking times can be used as well. One thing that I would recommend, if you have a crock pot or some sort of earthen pot, that's even better. The reason being, earth is the 5-element property of the spleen stomach. Anything cooked in a clay earthenware pot will be easier to be absorbed by the spleen stomach. So especially if you have digestive problems, if you're a little on the overweight side, that would be good to do. Now you can use just a regular pot that's considered metal, which is a different element in the 5 elements. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not as good for helping with digestion. But it's totally fine as well, totally acceptable, no big deal. The black chicken soup is enjoyed for its nourishing and warming properties and is often consumed during colder months. You can have it anytime though. It doesn't have to just be colder months. If you're really pro, you have it maybe once a month. Once a month. You don't want to overdo it, but once a month, that will nourish your everything. You will see there are many different formulas out there that you don't have to necessarily stick with this formula, but this is the traditional formula. I would recommend starting with this formula. You can look online, find other ones. There's ones that add goji berries and all kinds of other good stuff, and some formulas that maybe that don't have some of these herbs. But as we just learned, this is a very balanced, nice formula. I'm sure if you ask any Chinese medical doctor for the base formula, this is what they would give you. If you have a Chinese medical practitioner already, be sure to ask them about this formula. Is this something that would be good for you? And they maybe even would have suggestions of herbs that you could add or take away for your particular case. That is the good thing about going and seeing a Chinese herbologist. They could actually create a formula for you that you can make black chicken soup with that would be very personalized, right for you. This formula that we gave is the general formula. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I explained everything clearly. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments below. By all means, like and subscribe, and please send this video and other videos that we make to your friends and family and help me grow this channel. All right, I will see you next week.